I'll throw this up here in a second. We got 3 minutes left. What is the significance of the red heifer and the third temple?
Okay. Red heifer comes from Numbers chapter 19. I'm not going to go through it and read it. You guys can just read that on your own because of time. It comes from Numbers chapter 19, and what they were told to do, and this is before they, when they were building doing the tabernacle and doing sacrifices for the first time. They were told to take a red heifer, take it outside the camp, and they were to burn that red heifer. And there were some other elements that were put in there. Let's see, one was cedar, and the other one was hyssop. That was mixed in with the animal when it was being burnt as a whole burnt offering, and then they took those ashes and they made water that they would anoint things with and people with for cleansing. And one of the things that had to be cleansed was the altar and the tabernacle, that kind of stuff. And so the Jews believe that before they can start temple sacrifice, that they have to have the ashes of a red heifer. And it's specifically to fulfill the ceremony that takes place in Numbers chapter 19. The other thing that you have that is connected with this is the ashes of the red heifer, the original red heifer, were always mixed with the ashes that came after. And it's one of these kind of things. So they had a pile of ashes that they got from this animal. They used it in this formula to make this water, basically, this purification water. And when they were about to run out of the ashes, they would take another red heifer and they would sacrifice it. They would take those ashes and whatever ashes were left over, and they would mix those, combine them, and it's like the original ashes of the red heifer is mixed with that, and so you have this continuous thing going on. And so they did that over and over until the destruction of the second temple, and then it stopped at that point. Again, the significance of the red heifer right now is the Jews believe, Orthodox Jews believe, that they can't do temple sacrifices without this water of anointing that they use to purify things and people. And so that's what they're looking for. Right now, there are, in Israel, there are 2 herds of red cattle being raised so that they can get a red heifer. So, and they want it born in Israel. And so...
So they're pretty rare, right?
Well, no. Red heifers aren't rare. Red heifers without any white hairs in them at all are very rare.
Right. And so when they pop on the news and that stuff, it's because they found one, and those perfect ones without blemish, according to their characteristics, are rare.
Right. And they have to be over, I believe it's 3 years old. And so they're watching them for that period of time to make sure that there's no red hair. And so if they've got an animal that has no red hair at that point, then they can offer it as a sacrifice, and that's a valid sacrifice for a red heifer. Now, the Bible doesn't teach that.
Right. It's just Judaism.
Yeah, it's rabbinic.
Yeah.
And so, I think that probably what they did was they had a bunch of cattle and picked out a red one. It took him and offered him up at that point, and all the legalism.
All the religion turns this into some massive works trip.
Yeah, exactly. I think all that came later. The point is that the animal was used for purification. So that's what it's about.
There you go.